Hi, Wendy Arthur here. As I was reading some scripture this morning in Matthew 25, and if you want to follow along with me, we're going to be starting at verse 14. This is about waiting. So many of us are in the waiting, and it has been a long season, a hard season. A very difficult season, because when you are in the waiting, you don't have any answers. You're waiting on the answers. You're waiting on the breakthrough. You're waiting on what it is that you've been praying to see manifested in your life, the prayers to be answered in your life. So because waiting is very difficult for most people, I have not come out on top on the victory side regarding being patient in the waiting, even though it's been many years that we have been waiting for certain things to be made clear and manifest. It has not manifested it, and we have not seen what we've been standing on, what the Word of God says we will see. We have not seen it. We are not the only ones. So I'm going to be very, very transparent here, and I'm going to be raw and real, because you know what? Sugarcoating stuff don't change nothing. And I would rather be real with you and share the struggle and be honest about what I have learned the hard way. What I would like to see that has not come to fruition. But what is the purpose for the waiting? It's not like God is not able. Yet He could think something and it would happen. That's how He created the whole world. He thought it, spoke it. Done. So we would like to see that happen in our own lives, right? So if you are in the waiting period and He's not speaking to what you are praying for and standing on and believing for, let's talk about that, because it's more than you know. We are not alone. You are not alone. You are in this with many, many others. So let's open our Bibles to Matthew 25. And I'm going to be reading out of the Amplified Classic version. You can follow along whatever version you have. But we're going to be starting at verse 14. And this is about the parable of the three servants and the master who was going to be going away on a trip. This is about him entrusting these three servants. So what are the servants capable of while he's gone? Let's see. Starting in verse 14. For it is like a man who was about to take a long journey, and he called his servants together and entrusted them with his property. To one he gave 5 talents. Some say that that's approximately $5,000, so a talent would be $1,000 approximately. To another, he gave 2. Another one, just 1. So out of the 3, one got 5, one got 2, and one got 1 talent. To each in proportion to his own personal ability. The way that says in the King James is according to his several ability, to each one according to their ability to handle what they were given. Okay? Keep that in mind. It's going to be important later. Then he departed and left the country. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he gained 5 talents more. And likewise, he who had received the 2 talents, he also gained 2 talents more. So they both doubled their investment. But the one who had received the 1 talent went and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came and brought him 5 more, saying, Master, you entrusted to me 5 talents. See, here I have gained 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, you upright, honorable, admirable, and faithful servant. You have been faithful and trustworthy over a little. I will put you in charge of much. Enter into and share the joy, the delight, the blessedness which your master enjoys. And he also who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you entrusted 2 talents to me. Here I have gained 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, you upright, honorable, admirable, and faithful servant. You have been faithful and trustworthy over a little. I will put you in charge of much. Enter into and share the joy, the delight, and the blessedness which your master enjoys. He who had received 1 talent came forward also, saying, Master, I knew you to be a harsh and hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you had not winnowed the grain. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is your own. But his master answered him, You wicked and lazy and idle servant. Did you indeed know that I reap where I have not sowed, and gather grain where I have not winnowed? He's questioning what he thought was true. Then you should have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent away from him and give it to the one who has the 10 talents. For to every one who has will more be given, and he will be furnished richly, so that he will have an abundance. But from the one who does not have, even what he does have will be taken away. And throw the good-for-nothing servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and grinding of teeth. So this obviously has much more than just one application. It's talking about eternity. It's talking about investments. It's talking about our mindsets and how we see God. It's talking about many, many things. But what I would like to point out today is the waiting. While the servants were waiting, they were all waiting for the same person, their master, for the same amount of time. Those 2 things were not variables. They were set. Waiting on the same person, waiting for the same amount of time. So, what was the difference? I would like to point out a few things about the servants. The master was entrusting all of them with his property and his money. So what was he expecting? It said in the very beginning that he gave them the amount of talents that he gave them according to their own ability. So the first guy he gave 5 talents to. Obviously, he had already proved somewhere along the line that he was talented in business or in investing. He had already proven that he was going to find a way to increase and do better. The second guy, who got 2 talents, had also some business acumen, Obviously not as much as the first guy, because he was only entrusted with 2 talents. The first guy was entrusted with 5. Yet, the first guy and the second guy both doubled the money. They both went out and invested. Now, I also like to point out a couple things. It said that the first guy that got 5 talents immediately went out and invested the money. Immediately. He already knew what would be a good investment and would have a good return for his master. He already knew that because he immediately went out and did it. It said the second guy, when he got his talents, he also invested it. It didn't say he went out immediately. He was still studying. He had some knowledge, and he was going to look around and see what would be the best investment for his 2 talents. Obviously, in his research, he found what would give a double return, and that's what he got. So the first guy got a double return, the second guy got a double return. One just faster than the other. It had to do with where they were at in their knowledge base and their understanding of business. The third guy, number 1, he had a bad attitude about the master from the get-go. He didn't think well of him. He was his servant. He saw how he prospered. But I love how when he was accusing the master of being a harsh and hard man who got wealth and money from things he didn't even do. Well, Bible says you will reap what you sow. Somebody who has wealth didn't get it because they sat there and did nothing. He obviously was smart enough to have wealth and to have servants and to have his property properly cared for. He wanted things to be taken care of well. And he wanted smart servants who were going to continue to prosper his property and himself. But I also want you to realize that the servant, that the master, when he was talking to the first 2 servants and telling them, well done, you doubled the money, that's great. He didn't say, great, now hand it over. I appreciate what you did. He didn't take what they got. He said, because I entrusted this to you, and you did well. You invested it, and you invested wisely, and you got a good return. Because you handled well, I'm now going to trust you with much. And he said, I want you to enjoy what I enjoy. Enter into what delights me, and what brings me happiness, and what blesses me. And how he put that, he said, I will put you in charge of much. Enter into and share the joy, the delight, the blessedness which your master enjoys. He didn't say, good job, go have fun somewhere. He said, enter into what I myself enjoy. Let me share with you what I have. So, the third servant, who was accusing the master of being hard and harsh and taking what wasn't his, basically. He's saying you steal from people who do the work. You didn't do the work. So, this servant reaped what he sowed. He did nothing. He accused the master of being a thief, basically, and a user. And said, and so because I believe this about you, I was afraid of you, so I buried it so you could just have back what you gave me. People think that this is the end of the story, but it's not. It was the end of the story for the wicked servant who did nothing in the waiting. He did nothing in the waiting. The two other servants, the wise ones, the ones who invested well, they employed what they knew. And they also learned more. And they grew. They increased. They increased in knowledge. They increased in understanding of what they needed to do. Their calling obviously was business. They did well. What is your calling? What skills and abilities do you need to develop in the waiting? God has given you these things to steward for a reason. You may not know the reason yet, but He's giving them to you to steward, and to steward well, so that when He returns, you will be ready. You will already know what you need to know. You will have the skill and ability to do what He's called you to do. You will be equipped. If I was going to build a house, I would not go and find somebody who is just finding out what the tools are for. I want somebody already ready. I want somebody who has done the work, already knows the job, already knows the right tools for the job, and has the skills and ability to do it well. That's what God is looking for. Use your time of waiting wisely. We all need to do that, because we all want to hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Well done. Come share in my joy and my blessings. Let me share them with you because you've done so well." We want to be found ready and able. Able when He comes. I'm not just talking about when He comes back. I'm talking about when He comes and finally talks to you and says, "I have things in alignment now. I've got everybody ready in their positions now for what I've called you to do in the kingdom." It's not just about us. There are other people involved in God's plan. And we all have to be in position. We all have to know what we need to know. We all have to be equipped and ready and able. So be ready by being busy in the waiting. I don't mean busy work. I mean be busy about your call. Learn more. Develop your gifts. Gain understanding. Knowledge is great. Understanding's better. But they go hand in hand. Develop these things in you in the waiting. So when the Master comes and says, "It's go time," you'll actually get to go. Don't sideline yourself like the wicked servant. That was the end of his story. The other two guys continued on, and they continued to grow, and they continued to increase. I want to share a little tidbit that the Lord gave me in the secret place about that this morning. He said, the lesson here is that we increase because that is kingdom. We increase our position, profit, and possessions when we posture ourselves for increase. When we increase our knowledge and understanding and apply it, we increase in every area. Increase is kingdom. We increase our position, our profit, and our possessions when we posture our heart, ourselves for increase. It just doesn't come automatically because you're a believer. You have to be ready. You have to have postured yourself in the waiting to be ready to receive what it is that God has and what He wants to do and what He wants to accomplish, because God increases as well. His goal is an increase in souls. Souls. He wants to offer His Father in heaven souls. That's His offering. And it benefits us. So let's all be ready by making use of the time we have in the waiting. So bow now. Avoid the rush.